Ted Shannon here. I'm going to demonstrate the squat, major muscle groups being worked, the big muscles of your legs, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes. You're also going to activate your core, so your abs and your lower back are also going to be involved here to stabilize. Our routine, you place your hands about shoulder width, no thumbs. You place, as you rack the bar on your back, you're pinching your shoulder blades together, pulling your elbows up. You're going to set your feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes pointed slightly out. I'm going to set my eyes looking straight ahead. I set my back. And again, big thing with your back, which is a huge safety consideration with their squat. Your back should have a neutral spine. Again, you're not overarching, but you're definitely not rounding. So the natural curves of your back, and that's another reason we don't stare straight up at the sky, because that's not a natural curve of your neck as well, your cervical vertebrae. So you keep your neutral spine. Of keeping your back healthy, besides having a neutral spine throughout the lift, is you take a breath at the top and you're going to hold it throughout the lift. We call it holding the air in your abs. That keeps the pressure tight in your core, and that's going to stabilize your back as well. The other major safety consideration is your knees. You want to keep your weight towards your heels, and you don't want your knees tracking out way over your toes, but you want them to follow in the same direction that your toes are pointed, which is slightly out. So our coaching cue, as you squat, you're having your weight in your heels, but then you're pushing your feet to the outside of your shoes, so then your knees track over your toes and keep your knees healthy. And common technique errors we see with the squat, people don't go low enough. In their big push to overload and to see that progression, they put on a bunch more weight, trying to keep up with teammates, and they're not getting to the full depth, which means they're not recruiting their hamstrings or their glutes as much. So if you're going to work the proper muscle groups for this lift, it's important that you go to the proper depth. So as we look at this from the side, you'll see that I have the bar on my traps and my posterior delts, the backs of my shoulders, so it's a low bar position. What that does is it's going to change a little bit of the angle, how much lean you have in your upper torso. So, big thing is that the bar is going in a vertical path over the middle of your foot. So whether you have a front squat, a higher on your shoulders, higher on your traps bar position, or a low bar position, based on your own physical, structure, you're going to have a different lean in your torso. And if you have the bar in a front squat position, you're going to have a much more vertical torso, so that the bar stays in line over the middle of your foot and it doesn't drag you forward, pushing your knees over your toes. The other thing to pay attention to with this side view is the straight vertical bar path, and the fact that your hips and your shoulders go down at the same rate and they rise up at the same rate, as opposed to a deadlift technique. You also see in this side view what a parallel squat means, with the top of your thigh being parallel with the ground.